Hikikomori, a term in Japan describing those with extreme social anxiety, which affects their ability to leave their homes, can commonly trigger after a traumatic event has taken place. This video is dedicated to those who have trouble communicating their feelings in society. Know that there are people who love you, and they know you love them back. There are heavy topics mentioned in this video. Please do not watch if you are easily disturbed. On April 21st, 2014, a Kickstarter page for a video game project was released, and it caught many people's eyes. An RPG named OMORI that described itself as a surreal psychological horror game was starting to be developed. This project instantly caught the attention of tons of gamers excited for the game's release, donating over $200,000, which was a far cry from the original goal, which was only $20,000. But why? Much like games before it, like Undertale, people saw innovation in the project with its unique genre, gameplay, story, and characters. This project was led by an artist named OMOCAT. She started her drawing career in 2010 and worked on countless comics and artwork, which had amassed a reputation around the community for being well-drawn characters that would sometimes tell their own stories. Some of these stories included characters such as Pretty Boy, TV Girl, and Omori Boy, the character that this game is based on. Omori Boy had multiple comics and media written about his story, including a blog, a comic, a sketchbook, and a supposed graphic novel that was never finished. All these stories revolved around the theme of Omori Boy being a hikikomori who would go on various adventures with his friends, Kel, Aubrey, and Hiro. He's very self-deprecative, but he knows he hasn't always been this way. However, to find out what changed, he must remember something, or someone, very important. This basic plotline would carry over to the final game. However, a lot of changes would be made to the story over its long development. Speaking of a long development, OMORI is notorious and controversial for the developer's silence throughout the game's 7-year development. As Kickstarter games were often notorious for being insane cash grabs that scammed, OMORI was looked at by some to be in these groups of games. After 7 years of silence, people started wondering about what the developer had done with the $200,000 the community had given her. And keep in mind, there were also only 2 trailers of the game released at this point. There was the original 2014 trailer from the Kickstarter page, and another one that was released in 2017. There was a demo of the game released in 2018 for only Kickstarter backers, but other than that, there was nothing. It didn't help matters that OMOCAT was running a very successful shop during the game's development. People criticized OMOCAT, saying that she was too focused on the store instead of working on the game, as the shop seemed to update even more than the actual news of the game itself. Nevertheless, fans were left waiting and begging for an update, until finally, on November 30th, 2020, a release date was shown. On Christmas Day 2020, the gaming community was given a gift. People sure loved the hell out of it. People lauded the innovative gameplay, the well-written characters, and called its tear-jerking story as one of the best stories ever told in gaming. A game that was well worth its 7 years of development and silence, at least to some. Even with statements from OMOCAT after the game's release, some still criticize OMOCAT to this day for the silence she had during development, as well as controversial remarks she and members of her team have made in the past. These were some of the arguments used to denounce the game whenever popular streamers like Ranboo would offer to play the game for their streams. Intense arguments have been made between fans and haters through Twitter. The Kickstarter comment section is still filled with hate towards the developers. However, is this justified? Or does the community show its immaturity? Was this game worth the hype? Or was it another disappointing Kickstarter failure that would join the ranks of mighty number? I can't even finish that sentence. Let's dive into the story of delusion versus reality and see for ourselves. This is the history of OMORI.
I always try to make it right, but I keep coming short. Can't seem to see why change is fine when change crushes my hope. Why am I still working if it's just choking away my life? Why do I still fight for my dreams when all that I've seen is dwindling down, down, down? Why am I still working if it's just choking away my life? Why do I still fight for my dreams when all that I've seen is dwindling down, down, down?
Don't worry. Everything is going to be okay. No matter what happens, promise me that we'll always be there for each other. Promise me. OMORI wakes up once more in white space, a place of nothingness, a place to forget, a place he calls home. The door is shut and won't let him out just yet. His only belongings are a laptop, a cat, a drawing book, and tissues for wiping his sorrows away. In the original comic, let's just say he wasn't just using tissues to wipe his sorrows away. A light bulb hangs from the ceiling, but the inside is pitch black. His cat, named Miwo, just purrs, asking him if he's waiting for something to happen. OMORI keeps a diary on his laptop, and his schedule sure is consistent. His laptop also has a brick wall wallpaper, which is amazing to stare at, by the way. His drawing notepad includes all his disturbing images, which after this, I'm certain he was on his post-nut after he drew them. All these items, when looked at, suddenly drop an item from somewhere in the room. OMORI goes out to explore white space to find what dropped. Now, what is this amazing first area of the game, you might ask? Well, allow me to introduce you to this! There really is nothing here, huh? Well, these red hands are floating around that, if you touch them, you'll be teleported to the main rug. Well, that's handy. I thought I was gonna be lost in here. Just look at all this white. Eventually, we find out what dropped. A shiny knife. Huh. After getting this knife, the door can now be open. What awaits us on the other side of the door? Our friends. These are our friends, Kel, Aubrey, and Hiro. As OMORI exits white space, the three greet him. Aubrey greets him first, wanting to play cards with him before realizing that she accidentally ruined the cards out of excitement. Kel groans out of disappointment and gets into a little bit of a fit towards Hiro, who tells him to calm down. After this exchange, a light bulb appears on top of Aubrey's head. This signifies the beginning of a side quest. There are many side quests in this game. Most are just fetch quests or an NPC asking you to talk to someone, but some are in-game cutscenes that raise your stats significantly, or require you to kill many enemies. Most of these quests are charming, so if you want to back off the depression that is the main story for a little while, you can go on a couple side quests to lighten the mood. Just keep in mind that there are a lot. Some would say, way too much. Anyways, Aubrey's quest requires you to find her stuffed toy. It was hidden from her by Kel after she makes fun of him for having a mole on his penis. What an amazing start! Hiro tells both to knock it off and lets us know that our other friends are waiting for us at a picnic at the playground. So with our invite, our friends join the party, and after getting an allowance from our pet snake, please don't ask, we start to embark outside the room. After a short cutscene, we make our way to the playground where we meet Mari, OMORI's sister, and Basil, a flower boy. After meeting up at the picnic, Aubrey complains about Kel and vice versa. Mari plays along, but when Hiro tells him to chill out, she teases him, which gets him embarrassed. Aww. Mari mentions that she and Basil were going through his photo album. In this photo album are a bunch of cute pictures of OMORI and his various adventures with his friends. He looks so happy. I'm really feeling Hiro struggling to make flower crowns here. That would definitely be me. Aubrey looks so cute in this picture. That sea probably haunts her looking back though. Oh, Kel likes milk. I think milk is a pretty good drink. I don't drink it all the time, but I drink it when I can. Basil seems to be so happy around the friend group. Aw, look at Mari in here taking care of everyone. Wow, OMORI really is different from everyone else. After looking at these photos, the group compliments his skill as a photographer. Basil thanks them and offers everyone to come over to his house so he can show everyone his plants. Everyone agrees, but Mari. She just tells them to go on and enjoy themselves and to come back to her if they don't feel good. The group say their goodbyes to her and they head off, leaving her on the picnic blanket. Mari seems to be able to teleport or something. She seems to be having picnics all over the world. Going back to Mari and the picnic blanket is how you can save, refresh your health, and get fun mini cutscenes of the group doing various things. Talking to Mari herself will show you the side quests you have ongoing and the side quests that you've already completed. These are things that will prove very useful during your adventure. Exploring the playground introduces you to many side characters, from a duo who likes to meditate to a screaming hamster. What a cast. Headed to the center introduces you to Burley and Van. Burley mentions that she has a special plan for everyone, which ends up being a classic game of hide and seek. Although the group is a bit concerned with a certain boss who made the game unfun to play with last time they did. Not wanting to leave her with fewer people to play with, we reluctantly agree to play the game of hide and seek. She makes OMORI the seeker, leaving us all alone to look for everyone else. Kel is the first one to be found, hiding right behind the tetherball pole. With his help, we find everyone else, including Aubrey, who's hiding behind a bush, and Shiro, who decided to work out. Everyone seems to be found except for one person, Basil. Shiro mentions that he saw him hide in a nearby tree, but when they search the tree, they find him with an unwanted guest. Boss, tired of being neglected by the people of the playground, challenges OMORI and his group to a fight. This introduces our unique battle system. We'll get more into the battle system later, but for now, we can just use the battle system like any other RPG, which means smash A. Everything seems to go as normal until Boss uses Body Slam, which seems to take out everyone in the party and makes them toast. But OMORI does not succumb. With one final hit, we defeat Boss. After each enemy is defeated, we gain experience and clams, which are this world's currency. Boss releases Basil, angry at his defeat until Basil forgives him, and takes down the rule saying that he isn't allowed in the playground. Boss, clearly embarrassed, hides back behind the tree. With everything now settled, and with Basil's safety intact, we continue the adventure down to his house. Before going down the path to Basil's, a creepy mailbox man whispers to us and is our shop for this world, selling us food and juice. After getting a couple of items, we trek down Basil's path. He introduces us to each of his gardens of flowers, which he relates to each of his friends. Sunflowers remind him of the person he wants to become. Lilies remind him of Maury due to her positivity. Roses remind him of Shiro because he's versatile and universally loved. The gladiolus reminds him of Aubrey because of her strong will and how she's unapologetically herself. Cactuses remind him of Kel because he's a prick, because he's sturdy and resilient. And finally, OMORI reminds Along the way to Basil's house, some sprout moles appear to be damaging the flowers. We gotta stop them, so time to be introduced to the battle system. The game attacks work kind of like a normal RPG. You have HP or health, and MP or juice. Attack is a normal attack that uses no MP, and skills use up MP depending on what they do. You also have items that either damage an enemy or recover your party's HP and juice. OMORI is the attacker who has pretty good stats and can do a ton of damage late game. He can't succumb to a knockout once, but once he is knocked down again, it's game over. Kel is agile and will usually attack first. All his skills rely on speed. Later in the game, you can do tons of damage just by raising his speed stat. Aubrey is the bruiser and will do tons of damage and can take the aggro off of enemies and counter them back. Shiro is the healer, and while he doesn't have many hard-hitting attacks and usually goes last, he heals your party a significant amount. If you've played an RPG before, you get the basic concept of classes, and for some reason, if you don't, here's an RPG explained in Fortnite terms. Okay. Alright, so you know Fortnite, right? Yes. Okay, so imagine you were playing Fortnite, but all of your party was standing still and they were taking turns hitting the enemy team, right? Mm-hmm. All right. And then also your guns, the ammo is the MP, and every time you shoot your gun, you lose the ammo, and you have to refresh the ammo using items, right? And then you also have the chug jug, which you drink the chug jug in order to use the guns, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you finish beating up all the enemies, you get a victory royale and you get their money. But they don't have any guns to drop. They just have money.
That's not gonna help the stock market. What if Tower had machine guns, right? And when you drop, you die instantly.
Real.
No one should drop there.
Real. Simple stuff until you get to the other part of this battle system. This game has a special type of advantage battle system that we're going to be calling the Emotion Battle System, or EBS for short. The EBS gives you skills that can be used to change a party member's or enemy's emotion. This matters because depending on what emotion you have, you can either have a disadvantage against an enemy or an advantage. This is like other RPGs such as Pokemon, however, unlike Pokemon, your emotion isn't set, and any party member can be any emotion you want them to be. The base emotion is neutral, which as the name suggests, is normal and is not weak or strong against enemies or emotions. However, different emotions grant different advantages and disadvantages. There are also 3 stages of each emotion. Only OMORI can hit all 3, but the stages raise your effects a significant amount. However, they also take a long time to build up. This is pretty cool because this ensures that A isn't mashed throughout all the fights like we did earlier. You could do that, and it would work for a bit, but you'll realize very quickly that it could lead to your downfall. After battling the sprout moles, we meet up with Mari, who's waiting for us in the forest, asking us to join an impromptu picnic. After eating and saving, we head down to the entrance to Basil's place, but something seems to be blocking the way. A big sprout mole. To get through, we're going to have to battle it. However, battling it seems impossible as it barely takes any damage, and the EBS barely seems to be taking any effect. In response to this, Shiro suggests that we try using follow-up moves. At the bottom of the screen, there is a meter representing the energy that goes up every time a party member takes damage. The bigger the number, the more special moves that you can pull off their party members. Each special move has different effects that change throughout the game. This can either help or hurt, because some of these moves change a party member's emotion. For example, Kel's pass through OMORI will cause OMORI to take 1 HP of damage and will cause him to be sad that he didn't catch the ball. However, later in the game, OMORI will finally catch the ball and attack the enemy, which will make him happy. It's something to keep in mind so you can make sure that you're making your teammates the right emotion. When the meter is maxed out, the group can pull out an ultimate attack called Release Energy. It's an ultimate attack that has all the party members attack the enemy at once. It's super satisfying to pull off. I also have the shirt for it too. OMORI levels up and learns Stab. It's a powerful move that ignores all defense when you're sad, so that's even more reason to be changing emotions. With a huge sprout mole defeated, we are now able to head into Basil's domain. As we head into the domain, Basil takes a picture of us when we least expect it. It's what he likes to do. Although it came out blurry, everyone is still impressed by the picture. Aubrey and Kel end up fighting to see the picture, and it ends up getting out of hand. Shiro scolds the two, and they both apologize to Basil and each other for making Basil fall and dropping all of his photos. Basil says it's fine and invites him inside. Inside Basil's house, we put back together all of his photos. Kel and Aubrey apologize for knocking out the photos again, and all seems well. Until a photo drops out. That's strange. A photo must have been loose. Huh? What is this? Did I take this photo? Something about it seems so familiar. No, that can't be. Mari, she's... White space. Not much around to do here. Or is there? There's no way out but one.
When I saw OMORI over half a decade ago, I was instantly captivated. It was through Shez's edit of the OMORI Boy comic, set to the Maroon 5 cover of Pure Imagination. And both the art style and the concept of an alternative world with dreamlike rules spoke to me on a deep level, and was even more reinforced by the 2014 trailer set to my time. I have always had the affinity to slightly surreal alternative realities like Lane, Yuminiki, Urisekai Picnic, and Weirdcore. So OMORI was shaping itself up to be the perfect game for me. But OMORI is not about another world. Putting it in the same group as these media, despite the obvious influences, would be a discredit to the story. OMORI is a story of trauma, denial, and recovery. And every supernatural element can be explained as some manifestation of Sunny's guilt. OMORI is not the story I hoped it would be, but I still love it. The traveling between two worlds kept most of what I love, while still perfectly tying in and building onto the story. There is no such thing as a perfect game, and OMORI is no exception. I know some people had issues with both the story and the gameplay, but My personal experience was great. I absolutely loved exploring and figuring out quests and secrets, and I loved all the small activities you could do with your friends in the dream world. Omori has had quite an obvious impact on my life, and I don't think I could fool anybody into thinking it didn't. On YouTube, my Omori videos have gotten several million views, and I grew from under 1,000 to over 5,000 subscribers, which I will always be grateful for. Though, what I enjoyed the most is the Omori community at large and everything we've done together. It felt so amazing when we first discovered Omori rods, and I hand off my save file before going to bed, only to see the community discover 5 times the amount of content while I was asleep. And since then, we've had tons of amazing fan content and even community events like Discord Plays Omori that were so much fun to be a part of. Hadn't the community been as enjoyable as it has, I probably wouldn't have spent hours on hours making Omori videos or community posts shouting people out, or mod showcases to show off mods that the community has created. So thank you to the creators of Omori and everyone in the community. I've had a great time. Thank you.
Look at all of us. These are all of our memories together. They're a little bit sad now. But we should be happy that they happened at all. Let's make some new memories together, okay? We wake up as a boy named Sunny. His mom seems to be away from home so that she can get ready to move out of the house. It seems that he's alone. Or is he? He exits his room and musters the strength to walk down the stairway. He grabs a knife, but he's scared. Scared of something. Sunny makes it downstairs and eats microwave steak.
You've been so busy. It's time that you took a little vacation.
Later, Chef Mike.
It makes him queasy and he barfs in the toilet. Something knocks at the door. hour pants pissed, he goes back to sleep. Can I just talk about how amazing this opening is? When I played the game for the first time, I knew this game was a horror game. Even so, the game hooks you in so much on its interesting world, characters, and mechanics. Some tutorials are criticized for their distractive nature, which would take away from the gameplay, but here, it's different. If this was any other RPG, these tutorials would stink. A lot of mechanics and characters are introduced fast, which requires you to figure out how everything works in a short amount of time. It might seem like too much, but that distraction leads you away and makes you forget about how this game really is. And the stab in white space? I have not seen a single playthrough of the game which has the person not freaked out at this moment. Without telling you anything about why you must use one of the skills you receive on yourself. I don't know what it is about this scene, the horror when you realize what's about to happen, the way Omori doesn't hesitate, the huge wind up to the action, the wet sound of the stabbing action, the way Omori falls to the ground. It's scary having the person you've played for as the past hour and shoving a knife straight through him. It's impossible not to feel something while watching this go down. Omori wakes up once more in white space, a place of nothingness, a place to forget, a place he calls home. The door is shut and won't let him out just yet. His only belongings are a laptop, a cat, a drawing book, and tissues for wiping his sorrows away. A light bulb hangs from the ceiling, but the inside is pitch black. His cat, named Miwo, just purrs, asking him if he's waiting for something to happen. Omori keeps a diary on his laptop, which now shows a hangman game. There are keys we must find to complete this message without losing. His drawing notepad includes all of his disturbing images and an image that we haven't seen before. All these items, when looked at, suddenly drop an item from somewhere in the room. Omori goes out to explore white space to find what dropped. The item is a very beautiful map that is sadly pretty much useless unless you want something to look at, I guess. The door can now be opened. What awaits us on the other side of the door are our friends. As Omori exits white space, all his friends come up to greet him. They were all worried about him because he had suddenly disappeared from Basil's house. Although, he isn't the only one who disappeared. Basil is nowhere to be seen. After collecting our first key, our job, given by the party in Mari, is to go find him. Our first area to search in is the Lost Woods, known for its ladders that Omori seems to be afraid of, sprout moles and forest bunnies, which has an amazing battle theme, bridges with our second key looking on it, and ghost dogs that give you trash if you pet them. What a good segue that I keep making in this script. However, there still is no sign of Basil. Mari then tells the group that they could try climbing the ladder to the right of the tree stump. Omori is scared, but is told to face his fears. He gets over his fear of heights and climbs up the ladder with his friends to Otherworld. Losing Kel's pet rock on the way up, the four kids reach Otherworld, a land seemingly in space inhabited by the legendary captain of the space pirates, Captain Spaceboy. Or at least he used to be until he got heartbroken by the leader of the Sprout Moles, Sweetheart. Now he's just Spaceboy friend. But sadly, his crew doesn't know that, and it just seems like he's just lazing around. Spaceboy's companions are tired of seeing him like this, and would like to explore space with him again. So they send us on a mission to collect the special mixtape, seemingly the only thing that can snap him out of his sleep. They give us a key so that we can enter the junkyard to start our search. After learning about a runaway planet, please don't ask, we start searching for the hot beats that had made Spaceboy friend happy. I think this is why you use Spotify. Digging through the trash, not only do we come across various garbage that we can fight, but we also come across another game mechanic. You can tag party members for them to become the leader of the party so that they can use their passive skills. Each member of the party has at least one passive skill. Using all of these skills, we can make it through the junkyard and find someone with the special mixtape. Rosa, the self-proclaimed #1 sweetheart fan in the world, steals the special mixtape and adds it to her one-of-a-kind sweetheart collection. She runs off and we chase after her. After a quick chat with Mari, please don't ask, we finally corner her until... This is the weirdest boss fight of all time. I love it. We defeat 404 and take back the special mixtape from Rosa. Although, she tells us that Space Boyfriend intentionally threw out his special mixtape to try and move on. Not believing her, they take the special mixtape and we'll never see her again. After saving the planet we heard about earlier, we head back into the space pirate base. The kids bring back the mixtape to the space pirates, impressed that they were able to find it. With Kel about to put the special mixtape in the boombox, Aubrey warns the space pirates about what they heard from Rosa. Shocked at this revelation, they realize that playing the mixtape might make things even worse. But before they knew it, it was too late. The captain of the space pirates, Space ex-boyfriend awakens, furious that this garbage music has awoken him from his slumber. In a fit of rage from his ex-sweethearts shattering his heart to pieces, the captain attacks the team. This fight introduces something that would become a common theme around bosses in this game, as their outward emotion would translate into fights, and eventually, they will permanently stay on this emotion for the rest of the fight. Of course, you can use their emotional weaknesses against them, but they will try to turn you into a weaker emotion, which could be catastrophic to the damage taken. Again, another reason to not mash A throughout the fight. Space ex-boyfriend becomes angry, which we counter by becoming happy, and we finally revert him to his old self. Finished with grieving, he apologizes to the group for his temper, and after being asked by the group to keep a lookout for Basil, gives the group some snow cone tickets and train tickets to Shiro. The snow cone tickets can be redeemed at the snow cone machine that you can find by going down the secret pathway, and train tickets can be used back in Vast Forest as there is a train station there. After encouraging the group to keep going, Captain Spaceboy heads off on his journey, and we'll never see him again. After completing a chapter of the story, everyone's follow-up moves will do more damage and even have different text and sequences, like the pass to OMORI that I talked about earlier. On the remains of Spaceboy's bed, however, a letter appears. A hole is seen, and we can reach inside and feel a wind blowing steadily. I don't know how to segue into this, but there's a ladder back in Vast Forest that if you climb up it, you'll find another letter that you need. And when you reach inside that hole, you feel a hand graze against you. Back on Spaceboy's bed, when we come to, there are footsteps. Footsteps that lead us to a stranger, entering Cattail Fields. As we enter Cattail Fields, we seem to leave our friends behind. Following the footsteps on the ground takes us the various memories of playing with friends, all of which seem to be disappearing. The shadow leads us inside a barn. He walks inside of the frame, and we walk inside with him. Darkness, a seemingly endless hallway. An incorrect key is in our way. We move forward, and we finally reach the end of the hallway. A picture of a happy family, a rope, and sheet music with all of the notes scribbled out. We try to run, but we can't.
Hey, I'm Pat. I'm a bit of a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel called Pat, where I made the Discord Sings My Time video, and I'm also a moderator on the OMORI Discord. So I've actually been following the game OMORI probably since 2016. I remember being in high school constantly refreshing the OMORI Kickstarter page several times a week, looking for updates on the development of the game. So you can imagine how I felt having waited several years when OMORI actually was announced to have a release date, which was on Christmas Day 2020. And I'm really glad that the game did not let down all those years of waiting. Like, I played the game non-stop every day since that Christmas Day until I completed one of the endings. After completing the game and taking in the whole story and experience, I was just really impressed. I loved the gameplay, even if in my opinion it did drag on a little bit when it came to Humphrey, but otherwise the fights and the gameplay were really fun. The humor was on point, and most importantly, the story was just amazing. As someone who's dealt with a lot of anxiety, depression, and even hiding a secret from people you care about, this game really hit hard for me. I never thought that a game could so effectively encapsulate all these feelings and troubles that I was going through at the time. It changed how I viewed a lot of things, especially surrounding my mental health. And it showed that yeah, no matter what you've done or how much you've messed up, you can still make things right. It gave me a real sense of comfort and hope about my own situation. The game really did change how I look at life in general, and I'm so glad that 14-year-old me stumbled across the game back in 2016 and somehow patiently waited 4 full years for it. And I'm glad that now so many others have since then come across the game and loved the game too, and had it impact their lives as well.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
White space. Not much to do around here. Or is there? No way out but one. At that time, I saw everything. When you stood here before, did you see it too? Something behind you. Sonny wakes up. He moves in 3 days. Someone seems to be knocking at his door again. And we can play blackjack! Let's go! Does he open it? Or do we shut the person out? What does he want to do? What do you want to do? Sonny leaves his house for the first time in 4 years. However, the town and the people of Faraway seem a lot different than he remembers. Omori and the party enter Sweetheart's castle, only to end up being incarcerated by Sweetheart herself. Escaping the prison, the party must find a way out, but the castle isn't the only thing that needs to be escaped from. Finding Basil seems to be getting farther and farther from our reach. Next time, History of Omori 2.0, you cannot escape. That's it for today. I'll see you next time with some more fan service coming soon.